prepare to race onto the field. Everything is riding on this football game. So there's a special intensity, a special urgency. Here come the Volunteers. Wherever you listen throughout the world, it's football time in Tennessee.
Welcome to the Talkin' VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. It's hard to believe we're getting ready to wrap up spring camp. Tennessee's got the spring game scheduled for this coming Saturday. Won't be available to view for the public, but we'll still wrap things up, get some news and notes together. Probably going to do a live stream sometime this weekend and cover that. I'll let you guys know that day. But as we get ready to wrap up spring camp, On3.com has released their spring 2022 Power Rankings. You can see there Tennessee comes in at 5th. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to take these Power Rankings. On3 has a pretty good article where they kind of break down each team. We're going to look at Tennessee's schedule compared to these Power Rankings and talk a little bit about what our expectations are for 2022. Had a good conversation in the Talkin' VAWLS Facebook group. If you're not a member there, just search Talkin' VAWLS on Facebook. You'll find the group. Come hang out, interact with us. But had a good conversation about that Florida game going into week 4. What is the expectation? Is the expectation to start the season 4-0, or is it battered VAWLS syndrome if we say, well, no, you never expect to beat Florida because, well, look at the last 20 years. That's all you have to do. But anyway, we're going to talk about it. We're going to discuss it. Before we get going, as always, do me a favor. Go ahead and smash that like button just below the video. It's quick. It's free. It's easy. It helps the channel. Just hit that little thumbs up. And if you're new to the Talkin' VAWLS Network, welcome. We're not experts. We're not insiders. This is for the fans, by the fans. We are fans just like you. So if you enjoy the content, make sure you subscribe. Click that bell for notifications. You won't miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. Again, On3.com, Spring 2022 SEC Power Rankings. Let's take a look here. The Georgia Bulldogs exercised decades worth of 1980s jokes with their comeback victory over Alabama in the national championship last season. But the college football calendar has officially turned to 2022. Flowers are blooming, birds chirping, and Masters commercials dominating television. That means it's time for one thing, the SEC Power Rankings. Now, when you scroll down here, you look at the top two. They've got Alabama at the top, Georgia right underneath. That's 1A and 1B to me. Those two teams are likely going to play in Atlanta. They're likely going to both be in the national championship picture. It is what it is. Tennessee is on their way back. But there's no denying what Alabama and Georgia bring to the table. Now you scroll down here, 3rd and 4th, you got Texas A&M and Arkansas. And let's see what they have to say about Tennessee here coming in at 5th. 7-6 last season, 4-4 in the SEC. Says, could this actually be the year the return of Rocky Top is real? Josh Heupel has a perfect trigger man for his offense in quarterback Hendon Hooker, and the Vols could legitimately make their case as the second best team in the SEC East this fall. That is, if the Vols can figure out their defense. Now, I made a video earlier today about the linebacker room and how I really feel like that linebacker unit can take a step and improve upon last year. So we'll see just how good that defense plays out. It says Tennessee is going to score points in bunches, but unless it finds ways to stop someone, UT allowed nearly 30 points per game last season, better than only Missouri and Vanderbilt. It won't matter. While Tennessee secondary is super thin this spring, defensive coordinator Tim Banks still needs to find an answer or two heading into the fall. Now, what I want to do is go ahead and get Tennessee's schedule pulled up for 2022. I've got it there on the screen. What is the expectation when we look at this football team? A lot of people have that Pitt game, September 10th, going on the road to play Pittsburgh. A lot of people concerned. Maybe I'm being a little bit arrogant, naive. Maybe I'm overlooking them. They don't have Kenny Pickett. And in fact, when you go back to last year, if Hendon Hooker's the guy, in that Pitt game from the start to finish, I think Tennessee wins that game hands down. But it is a big factor that Kenny Pickett no longer a part of that Pitt team. I think that's going to play into it. I expect Tennessee to win that game on September 10th. You guys hit the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. The big question mark is week 4. I expect Tennessee to go into that Florida game 3-0. Neyland Stadium is going to be rocking. It is going to be electric. The atmosphere in Knoxville, if Tennessee is 3-0 for that Florida game, should be a huge advantage. But do you expect Tennessee to win that game. Let's read from On3.com from the Power Rankings what they had to say about Florida. They have them ranked 10th. And that's the thing. There's a couple of teams here on the schedule that I have circled that I'm concerned about, Florida being one of them. They're both ranked towards the bottom of the SEC. Battered VAWLS syndrome is real. The article says Billy Napier has been granted the keys to an army of staffers so the Gators can compete with the Alabamas, Georgias, and LSUs of the SEC. Napier hired an impressive coaching staff that has plenty to clean up this spring from the mess left over by the Dan Mullen regime. Quarterback is obviously a priority, though Anthony Richardson is the early favorite to beat out Jack Miller, but transitioning to a dramatic scheme change and fixing a leaky defense, 27 points per game in 2021, are two macro issues that also need addressing immediately. And that if Tennessee plays Florida late in the year last year, I think Tennessee wins hands down. That said, all the changes at Florida, all the players that transferred out, the schematic changes. Now we look at what Tennessee is bringing back, the return of Hendon Hooker, the return of Cedric Tillman, Jalen Hyatt, somebody that I talked about earlier taking a step, a guy that has shown up with 20 pounds of mass added to his frame. Talked about him needing to be more physical. This Tennessee offense has got another year under their belt with Josh Heupel, another spring camp with Josh Heupel. I think this offense is going to be firing on all cylinders. You bring Brew McCoy, get him on the outside. This offense is going to score points. I like, it's way too early, but I like Tennessee to beat Florida. I like them to, but can you expect them to? Again, hit the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. Can we expect Tennessee to beat Florida, or do we have to be like Brent Hubbs and say you have to see it to believe it? Now let's go on. Let's talk about LSU. Going on the road to play LSU next to Alabama and Georgia may be the toughest game on the schedule, and it's because of the environment, because of the atmosphere. When you go to Baton Rouge and play LSU, it's going to be tough. It is going to be a huge test for this Tennessee football team. Now, let's read what the Power Rankings have to say about LSU. They again have them ranked below Tennessee. So what is expectation versus reality? Is Boogie just struggling with battered VAWLS syndrome? Says new coach, new accent, same story. Meet the SEC's Jekyll and Hyde team once again. The variance on LSU's potential ceiling this fall is extreme. If Brian Kelly can get a whopping 14 newcomers via the transfer portal to really feel like family, then the Tigers could truly battle Texas A&M and Arkansas for the number 2 spot in the SEC West. That's a big question mark. The rest of the roster is talented, but if Kelly and company can't solve an offensive line room that needed a complete overhaul or figure out who exactly is going to play quarterback, then the Tigers could be positioned for another cellar dweller season. And that's the thing. You know, that's the 5th game of the season. We're going to have an opportunity to see LSU by that point. Maybe my mind starts to shift or change just a little bit. You go on and look at the schedule. Alabama there, UT Martin, Kentucky. Where does Kentucky stack up? They are right below Tennessee, and that's a game that I have confidence in. And maybe, again, it's just history. Being Kentucky's big brother that always picks up on them, always beats them down. Kentucky is ranked 6th in the SEC Power Rankings. Says the Wildcats are a team oatmeal of the SEC. Nothing sexy, but it gets the job done. That's a great description. That's a great description of what Mark Stoops has done with this football program. It goes on to say he has built a stable program in Lexington, which is no small feat, and just won 10 games for the second time in 3 seasons. Tailback Chris Rodriguez Jr. is back, which is key, but the rest of the offense faces a total overhaul. Kentucky must replace its hot shot OC, the team's top 3 offensive lineman, and dynamic playmaker. Robinson dipped into the portal to upgrade at receiver with Tavion Robinson from Virginia Tech and Javon Baker from Alabama. Both have chances to build rapport with quarterback Will Levis and emerge as wide receiver 1 for the Cats. Again, I expect to win that game. It is what it is. I expect to win. You got Georgia on the road. I'm taking a loss there. You look at the remainder of the schedule, Missouri, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, you feel pretty good going into those games. Now, the one that I keep bringing up, the one I keep talking about is South Carolina, because I feel like Shane Beamer has done a good job adding some talent in the portal. And again, it starts with quarterback Spencer Rattler. I know a lot of people say they're not concerned, they don't worry, Spencer Rattler sucks. It concerns me. South Carolina has a guy that can make plays at quarterback. They come in the SEC Power Rankings ranked 11th towards the bottom. So again, What's reality? What is reality versus expectation? They also added Oklahoma tight end Austin Stogner. That's a talented guy. South Carolina has some talent on the offensive side of the ball. How are they up front on the offensive line? They returned 5 starters on the offensive line, but they did allow 31 sacks. So that's kind of going through my thought process on this thing. Again, what is the ceiling for this team? I think the ceiling for this football team is 10 wins. I think every team on the schedule is beatable outside of Alabama and outside of Georgia. And yes, Tennessee can still win those games, but I don't expect them to win those games. Florida, LSU going to be tough. Kentucky's going to be tough, guys. It is what it is. And that's why when you look at it, when you say, what's the prediction? I've said it before. I'll say it again. My prediction is 8 wins on the season, but I think the ceiling is probably 10 wins, and the floor could be 6 wins. I mean, reality is reality. Tennessee can lose that Florida game. They can lose Alabama, LSU, Kentucky, Georgia. Do they drop one to South Carolina? That Pitt game on the road, even though I'm confident that could be a loss. This team could be anywhere from 6 wins to 10 wins, but just once again, On3.com drops the power ranking, so I wanted to drop a quick video, let you guys see that, and give you my thoughts. Hit the comment section, a lot to unpack there. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. Go check out the official merchandise of the Talkin VAWLS Network at bonfire.com/store/TalkinVAWLS. The link to that is in the description below. Got some new merchandise dropping soon, so be on the lookout for that. If you are elite, you are elite, and if you know, you know. That's going to do it for this one. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.